All right, back with another edition of the A Better NFL Top 100. We are in the top 30 now. We're really getting down to it. Again, it's an attempt at making a better NFL Top 100. Don't take that too seriously. I'm not like arrogantly saying, "Oh, yeah, I'm better." It's just an attempt at making a better one, and kind of just more of a fun name than anything else. Also, if not taking positional value into account, if you want more of a detailed list on a detailed explanation on what this list actually is, if you watch the first video, you'll get the explanation there. But yeah, let's just get into the list, starting off with number 30. I went Frank Ragn, who is now the second Detroit Lions offensive lineman to go off the board. There will be one more Detroit Lions offensive lineman who will go off the board at a certain point. Ragn, really good player for them. Also, I believe is the fourth highest offensive lineman period on this list. So yeah, has been a really consistently good center for the Detroit Lions, and definitely I think worth a spot on the list. So he's at 30. 29 is Miami Dolphins corner Jaylen Ramsay. Feels kind of weird to say that, but Ramsay was consistently one of the best corners when he was with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Demands a trade, gets a trade, multiple first-round picks, but the Rams land Ramsay and they win a Super Bowl in part for what Ramsay did. Now, Ramsay didn't have an incredible playoff run. He got got burned a couple of times. One with the big Mike Evans touchdown that allowed Tampa Bay to get back into that game. And then you also had the, he gave up a couple big plays to Lamar Jackson. But okay, you got burned a couple times by really good receivers. I'm not going to hold that against you too much. I still thought when he came in last year with the Dolphins after the injury, he played really well. Maybe not quite what we're used to seeing from Ramsay, and that did cost him some points. It did. That's why he's at 29, but definitely still worthy of a spot on the list. Next up is at 28, Derrick Henry makes the list. Another guy who, similar to Ramsay, there was a point when it was just accepted. Derrick Henry, best running back in football. The argument is for second. It's not that way anymore. I don't think he had his best year. Granted, him not having his best year is still a top 30 player in football. It's just not top 5 player in football anymore. And who knows? I mean, for a large part of his career, he was pretty offensive line proof. Maybe he's just not quite that anymore, but could still be an elite and best running back in football type guy once he joins the Ravens. It's kind of a perfect fit. I'm really excited to see how that's going to work. But for now, I'm putting him at 28. 27, I'm going George Kittle, coming off of not his best game in the Super Bowl, but has done a lot of really good stuff for the 49ers over the years. An elite level blocker and a elite level receiver. He's probably the best all around tight end in football. There's a guy I'll talk about just with the next pick. We could argue is better receiver, but Kittle's still a really good receiver and matters a lot to that team. At 26, though, I did go Travis Kelce. Listen, Kelce is not the blocker that Kittle is. Kelce's not the blocker a lot of guys are, although Kelce's not a bad blocker. People act like he's a horrible blocking tight end. He's not. He's a good blocking tight end. He's just not elite there or anything like that. But what makes him special is his receiving. And even though last year I don't think was his best year, he's still such a force in the receiving game, and especially in that playoff run. It's hard to say that there's another tight end you'd rather have than Kelce. So, yeah, he still makes the list as the number one tight end here at 26. And then 25, I'm going to reigning MVP Lamar Jackson, who, again, I'm not taking positional value into account the way MVP does. I still think he's a top 25 player. To me, I do think that I have him as the fourth wide receiver, fourth quarterback. I'm sure there's some joke about, he's just a running back with me accidentally saying that. But no, fourth highest quarterback on this list, which some people will say is too low, and I get it. There's a lot of really good stuff with what Lamar brings to the table, which is why I have him at the top 25. Again, the passing, which was always a question mark, even though it shouldn't have been. He was always a good passer. Really, he maybe had his best year as a passer last year, even though I think you could argue he had more value in his first MVP season. I think he was probably a more complete player this last season, and I wouldn't be shocked if he wins another MVP or a Super Bowl when it's all said and done. And 24, I'm sticking in Baltimore. I'm going Roquan Smith, a guy who I didn't think quite frankly, I thought was kind of overrated when he was with the Chicago Bears. He made some splash plays, but really kind of had an inconsistency. I think part of that was him being in more of a zone coverage scheme, which just really wasn't playing to his strengths. Now that he's with the Ravens, who they kind of will let him do more things and let him take these opportunities to, try to make splash plays while still, being a very good coverage player. And when he has to drop back, being very good in that aspect, it really has been a perfect fit. And I think that if anything, he's become underrated now, what he's doing with the Baltimore Ravens. He's fantastic and definitely a top 25 player. Number 23 is a guy who's consistently hated on by a lot of people for some reason, Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills. Again, I've done a lot of film studies and stuff, if you haven't seen them, talking about how I think a lot of the issues that people have with Allen are overblown. People bring up turnovers, but don't look at like his turnover worthy play rate. It's actually lower than you would expect. There is a bit of a luck factor, and I don't think he's been in a situation. I talk about the top 4 elite quarterbacks, which Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson in whatever order you want, as long as Mahomes is one, usually is how people view them. For me, I think that you look at the situation those other 3 have been in, and then the situation Allen has been in. Allen has had to do the most with the least. Like, he has not had the talent around him these other guys have had. Lamar, I guess you could also say, hasn't had elite talent around him, but he's at least had elite defenses, which Allen has had good defenses. So I think Lamar and Allen, actually, I would say, are somewhat comparable. But definitely, Burrow and Mahomes have been in much better situations than Allen has, so that's another factor. So, yeah, long story short, that's why he's number 23 on the list. Number 22, I am going with Demario Davis, the Saints player who, again, really good player for New Orleans, a linebacker who constantly in position, constantly, making plays, and really just an underrated player. Since he came over with the Saints, he's been debatably one of the best linebackers in football year in, year out. Really doesn't get enough credit. Even at his age, is still one of the best linebackers in football. He's one of the guys that I will slam the table for and say he deserves credit, which is why I have him as high as I do on this list. In number 21, we have Kyle Hamilton. So currently out of the 5 top 25 guys I've mentioned, 3 of them have been Ravens. Kyle Hamilton, who was quite frankly awesome, I was going to say last year, but both years he's been in the league, he's been unbelievable. And again, he fits the scheme so well. They want him to do so many different things, and he is able to do all of those things. So has really been a fantastic player for them, and that's why he is number 21 on this list. So yeah, those are 30 through 21. Getting down to it, we're at the players where, earlier we're talking about, oh man, these guys are guys I could see winning Defensive Player of the Year if it went well. These are guys I could see winning MVP, if you're in the right position at this point, this high on the list. Guys who have won multiple MVPs are still, at 25. So we're getting down to it. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.